This week, we're talking about differences. Yeah, there are differences between men and women, between husbands and wives, between any two people, right? And this week, we're going to celebrate and talk about some of those differences. You know, it's funny, when I think of differences, I think back to the days when I was dating. And in my case, it was the very differences that I saw in my wife, my now wife, that intrigued me so much. And as I talk to couples, that seems to be very common. You know, guys talk about, I'm pretty quiet and she's so outspoken. And I like that about her. I've heard women tell me that, if left on my own, I probably would stay home most of the time and read books and things. But he encourages me to get out and do things and try things and experience new things. And that's a great deal. When we were dating, in many cases, it was actually those differences which really attracted us to our partner, wasn't it? To the point that we fall in love, and we fall in love with those differences as well as the person. And we get married and life goes on. Here's the ironic thing. Over time, I don't know if our patience grows thin or if we just go from thinking a lot about our partner to thinking more about ourselves. But suddenly, those differences become almost a point of conflict. Think about it. Think about the last argument that you had with your spouse. In your mind, you were probably thinking, if you were just more like me, you would understand what we need to do. It's those differences that first attracted us that suddenly frustrate us. That wife that was so social that you loved everything about that drew you out. Now you find just can't be on time. She's always late. It used to be funny. Now it begins to irritate. That husband that just, can't stand not talking to his buddies about sports all the time kind of bugs you. Why can't he talk to your friends too and about something other than football? Yeah, differences are a challenge in a marriage. But we need to remember that it's those differences that originally drew us together and that made our partner so appealing. And we need to learn to celebrate those differences even after a long period of marriage. So the next time you get frustrated, the next time you're thinking, wow, I wish they would just think more like me, remember, you didn't marry yourself. You didn't want to marry yourself. Use those differences. Capitalize on those differences. You know what? If you take you and your spouse and you take your given personalities, your given skill sets, and you put them together, you're going to see that it makes a more complete package than what either of you could on your own. But that's only if you accept and acknowledge those differences. Quit spending time trying to get them to come to your side, to act like you, to think like you, to be like you, and acknowledge them for who they are. Celebrate those differences and utilize those differences. You know what? Many times those differences really are a strength. And sometimes we don't like to have those strengths put in our face because it makes us feel like a less of a person. Wow, she's so good at that. I can't compete. Easy answer. Don't compete. Use her strengths where it's applicable. Use your strengths where it's applicable. You know what? You've got a package together that you couldn't have as individuals. That's the way God created us. That's why God brought the two of you together as husband and wife. So quit trying to make them think and look and act more like you and allow them to truly be themselves. I'm going to go further. Help them to become all that God intended for them to be. Don't just live with the differences. Enhance, support, encourage those differences. Those especially differences that are strengths that when fully utilized can take you as a couple to a whole new place. Yeah. Differences appeal, but they also frustrate. They bring us together, but then they can cause conflict. You know what? Accept your spouse for who they are, love them for their differences, and help them become all that God intended. That's what we're going to be talking about, and that's just a great attitude to take within a marriage.